right, growing up? Some of you probably had to babysit me while my parents talked with you. Some of you probably remember me falling asleep in a Denny's somewhere. But nevertheless, we're glad to join on this journey with you guys together. 21 years, what a blessing. Give God a praise. Our church started at 3424 West Orange Avenue, apartment 101 in 1997. If you're doing the math, I was 4 years old when this started, so I don't know a lot, but I remember a little bit. I remember growing up, waking up on Sunday morning and having a nice little, our nice dining chairs in our living room. Kind of like in a little circle, we're getting ready to corporately worship God as a family. And that's how it started. It didn't start in one building. It didn't start with all of you fine folk. It started with our family, Pastor Albert, Melissa, Raylene, myself, and my brother Daniel. And faithfully, Sunday mornings, whether someone showed or someone didn't show, we were there praising God. We were there worshiping. Pastor Albert was there with his acoustic, and we were worshiping God in our living room. He was giving sermons and preaching as if someone was there, but who was only there was God and his family. But nevertheless, God honored that.
Yes, as Albert was saying, I remember being there. He was only 4. I was a little bit older than he is. But one thing that I truly remember is just praying to God before service would start, praying that someone, just one person, would come through the doors of our living room to worship God with us. And let me tell you, there was a lot of times that no one was there. It was just me, my brother, my mom, my dad. And, part of me would get discouraged at times, but I believed with all my heart that God was doing something. I believed in what my parents were doing. I believed that God can save a city. And I would just hope, I'm like, Lord, please let someone come. Please let someone come. Because we would outreach. We went knocking door to door in that apartment complex saying, hey, we're a church. We're Praise Chapel Anaheim. Come join us. Come see what God's doing. I remember giving flyers to people saying, come to church. Come, do you know Jesus? And there was that one day where someone knocked on the door, and I was like, oh my goodness, someone's here, someone's actually here. And lo and behold, one of my mom's tenants said, hey, is this where the church is at? And we're like, yes, come in. And, it was funny because it was the daughter who's the one who asked, because actually it was a daughter and a mom. The mom was actually deaf. So our first person in our church was a deaf and mute person who could not hear and who could not speak. But the Lord brought them. And I don't know if you want to share a story about that.
I just remember the way the sermons would work is Pastor Albert would just be having to illustrate something. If he's talking about the sun, you got to do this because he's ministering to a deaf person. And that's not an easy task. If anything, God's saying, you want to plant a church? All right, get ready for a task right away. And the first thing we had was a deaf woman by the name of Diane and her daughter Jennifer. But those were the first actual members of Praise Chapel.
Their friends always, no matter what, we could knock, and they were always there. And I thank God for our pastors. I thank God that I've grown. I believe I've come a long ways to these days, and I know there's been some challenges, but I thank God for the hot boxes. It was hot. That's what we call it, hot box. But you know what? Those were the times we had intimate times where we heard our pastor's heart. He would minister to us, and I would look forward to the hot box, even though what I knew was I was coming to, but it was not even about that. It was about hearing our pastors, and that's what I just wanted to share about the hot box. And congratulations, Pastor Albert, Pastor Wilson.
Hello, everyone. Congratulations. 21 years. 21 years, amen. That's testimony. That's testimony for a church to be here 21 years. I was invited to the Holiday Inn. None of you probably remember that. I can probably, on my finger, name the people that have, on one hand, name the people that were there. The address there was 7161 Catella Avenue, Stanton. And it is no longer a Holiday Inn. It's called a Stanton Inn and Suites. But at that time, it was just the Holiday Inn. I was invited there. It was just, you walk in, you'd see a buffet of fruit there. I think Pastor Melissa I might have greeted you when I got there. My then girlfriend at the time was waiting for me because she invited me. I was skeptical, did not want to go, but did go nonetheless. And that was a very defining moment. It was the first time I ever walked into a Christian church. I had never experienced a man with a guitar, never experienced a man doing an offering, doing announcements, and then rushing to play the piano, and then at the end of all that, give a 5-point sermon, and then call for salvation. That's a lot, man. You ought to give the pastor a hand clap here. Man of all grace. Glory to God. And 21 years, he's been faithful. He has not moved. And I thank the Lord for the opportunity to be able to walk in and witness that. And not only that, but be able to serve under a great ministry such as Pastor Albert and Pastor Melissa. 21 years says a lot about a church. It endures. It endures through the ups, the downs. It endures through it all, amen. And I'm very thankful. So 21 years. Congratulations, Praise Chapel, Garden Grove. Amen. Thank you. Thank you, Pastor Albert. Congratulations.
Chapel, Pastor Albert, Melissa, all the leaders there. We want to take a moment to congratulate you on 21 years of ministry from Kansas City to Cure Church. My wife and I really were blessed to be there with you this last year, and we're excited to see what God's done the last 21 years in that church, making an impact in Orange County, making an impact in people's lives. I get it, man. When we're going to church, there's going to be challenges, there's going to be wars. But if you take a moment this day and look back, there are more blessings than wars. There are more victories than defeats. The fact that you're still preaching the gospel, the best is yet to come.
Love you, Albert, Melissa. Love you, my brother. Wish you all the best. God bless all of you.
Wow. Praise God. Praise the Lord. Amen. All right. Oh, there we go. Praise God. Man, you know, what, 21 years? Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy?